Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts, and welcome to the 16th episode of the Chainsaw Reacts podcast. Today's podcast, guys, is covering three topics, and those topics in order are: number one, Ex Machina spoiler talk. I'm going to get into my thoughts about Ex Machina, the film. I thought it was a great film, but I'm going to get into my specifics and talk about some plot points. So if you have not seen Ex Machina, do not listen to that section of the podcast, the beginning of this podcast, because I'll be getting into major spoilers about that film. So I recommend skipping that part. Go watch Ex Machina, then come back and let me know your thoughts about Ex Machina in the comment section below. So there's that. Topic number two is going to be: which Green Lantern should the DC Cinematic Universe have? Which version of Green Lantern should the DC guys over at Warner Brothers basically put into their cinematic universe? So I want to get into that. And the third and final topic, which I will not get into the spoilers of what is shown in the leaks, but I'm going to be talking about as the third topic: have we seen too much of Suicide Squad? So understand, when I get to that section, I'm not going to be talking about what we have seen from the Suicide Squad leaks. I'm going to talk about, have we seen too much, and not get into details. Just basically talking about, have we already seen too much of the film? So understand that I'm not going to get into what we've seen or what's been leaked out from the sets and all that stuff. I'm just going to talk about, in general, have we seen too much of the film, because all the stuff that has came out, I'm not going to get into what we have seen in detail. So there's that. Anyways, let's get into Ex Machina spoiler talk right now, guys. So I saw this film, I think about 2 weeks ago. At this point, it might be a little bit less. I saw it on a Sunday night. It was a random night, but I saw it on a Sunday evening, and I thought it was a beautifully shot film. And the biggest thing that really stood out to me first, before the movie even started, is that there was not a lot of people in the theater. So I was thinking, oh boy, that's not really a good sign. Even though the film has been out for a while, I know it has been gaining some traction with audiences going, seeing it again, and getting new people to come in. But when I saw the film, there was about 10 other people in the theater. But anyways, let's get into the actual film itself. So sorry if I butcher any names here, because I'm going to go into the Wikipedia here and read off the people who played the three main characters that are really focused on in this film, because this film really does focus on two human characters and an AI character, if you know the plot points of Ex Machina. So Domhnall Gleeson, sorry if I butchered his name, as Caleb Smith, the main character of the story, and he actually played, I think, let me make sure that who he played correctly, because he has played Bill Weasley, one of the, I think the oldest brother, or I think he plays the oldest brother, Bill Weasley from the Harry Potter series, and he's actually coming up in Star Wars: The Force Awakens and The Revenant, which is a film that I believe stars Leonardo DiCaprio. It's kind of hard to pronounce words with these damn headphones on. But anyways, so the main character of the story, Caleb Smith, is actually a very interesting character. He actually wins a basically he wins a trip to go visit this scientist played by Oscar Isaac, Nathan Bateman. But Oscar Isaac is in this film as well, and he's actually gaining some attention with this indie film, and also he's going to be in Star Wars: The Force Awakens as well. But so Caleb Smith wins this trip to go basically visit Oscar Isaac in the middle of nowhere to check out his AI, essentially, as he arrives, named Ava, played by Alicia Vikander. But anyway, so getting to the main plot and what I think about the film, I think that the film, first of all, was beautifully shot. I think that the location they picked, which is a seclusion, and really 95% of this film takes place within a house, and it's within this really beautifully crafted house. It's really awesome. There's like glass everywhere, and it's really interesting to see Caleb Smith, his character, play off the Oscar Isaac character, because Oscar Isaac, he's playing a scientist who is, as you come to know throughout the story, because they don't give it away, is that he is a very famous scientist, a very famous person in the world, and he has created a artificial intelligence. And the whole point is of Caleb Smith, the character, his whole idea is that he is supposed to test Ava, this robotic AI that Oscar Isaac has created in this film, to basically see if Caleb believes that he can take this as a human, essentially, and give it a test and ask it specific questions, ask Ava particular questions, to where it's like, okay, this is obviously not a robot. This is actually a human, or what I would assume as a human. And so they're going through that test. Now, one interesting thing that really came across in the film, before I get to the major spoilers at the ending, which is really fascinating to me, is that it was brought up that usually this test is done without seeing the robot in action. You actually get to hear the robot, hear its responses, and that's how this test that they're doing in the film is really done. However, you see the robot clearly within 15 to 20 minutes into this film. You see Ava for the first time. And you learn throughout this film that Ava is very gifted, very smart, has great responses, and literally throughout this film, you believe Ava the robot, which is obviously not a real robot, but in the story, you actually believe, if you're really invested in the film, you really believe Ava is a human being, but obviously just does not have a human body, but clearly walks around like a human woman, but is obviously an AI. And it's very interesting to watch this as it really deludes and goes into some really interesting territories, because not only does Caleb start to understand that this is not just a typical robot, that this is clearly a very intelligent robot, essentially a very intelligent AI that he's starting to believe this is not just a AI, this is actually a human. Essentially, the Ava is functioning with a human brain. It's really getting to him in a sense where he goes really demented at one point and really questions if he's a robot at one point, and cuts himself to prove that he's alive and he's not an AI himself. And it's very crazy. Now, when things start to turn, Ava starts causing these power outages during the test that Caleb Smith, the character, is giving to Ava, to where the cameras and the audio is not picking up anything. The Oscar Isaac, he cannot pick up the the video feed, the audio feed, and where Ava is basically telling Caleb Smith throughout the beginning of, starting at kind of in right before the middle of the film, having these power outages during the testing, to basically tell Caleb Smith, do not trust him. Do not trust him at all. Do not trust Nathan. I believe that's what his name is. Let me double check. Do not trust Nathan, Oscar Isaac's character, because he's a liar. He do not believe what he says. And then it starts making you really question, why is Caleb Smith really there? Is he really there to test Ava, or is there something more sinister behind this? And as it goes on, you are to believe, because the storytelling is so great, in my personal opinion, because literally you believe that Ava is being honest, and that you cannot trust Nathan at all, because Nathan is a very bad dude. And the way he comes across, he comes off as a very creepy type person, a very odd person, and you seriously believe throughout the most of this film that he is going to do something horrible to Caleb Smith, the character. He's going to do something horrible to Caleb. So it's very eerie, and so you're just wondering, when is the turn going to happen to where Nathan, Oscar Isaac, does something very bad. So when it gets closer to the end of the film, there's a particular shot where Caleb Smith actually witnesses in his room. There's a TV monitor, unfortunately, has no television, so he can't watch any shows, but he actually gets to see Ava in her room, essentially, and he witnesses Nathan, Oscar Isaac, walk in and see a picture, but there's no audio, just a video feed, and he rips up the piece of paper that Ava drew. As there was at one point, Caleb Smith was asking Ava to draw something, and to draw something specific, not just randomness, just a specific thing. And at some point later on, Nathan rips it up. But so at that point, you don't hear any audio at all. Then Nathan decides to put in a camera into the room where Nathan is, or sorry, excuse me, Caleb Smith, the main character, is enclosed in a box throughout this whole entire testing with Ava, and Ava's on the outside, and they're both having a conversation. He places a camera that is not operated by his home system, that gets shut off during these power outages that Ava is causing, so it runs off batteries, so he catches everything that's going on, and he proves to Caleb at closer to the end of this film that Ava has been using Caleb to get out. Because at some point, Ava is talking about during these tests that she wants to leave the house and she wants to go outside and not think about what outside is and what the sun might feel like. Ava wants to actually feel these things. So when this is revealed to Caleb that she is manipulating and she's actually testing him, and instead of him testing her, it gets really interesting. Because at that point, you learn that Ava, throughout this time, because she was starting to flirt and try to basically want to be with Caleb, when in fact she's trying every possible way in her brain, essentially her mind, as far as you can go with the whole AI situation, if it's a real brain or not. She's doing everything she can. Ava is doing everything she possibly can to get out of the situation she's in. And it's very interesting to see this, because when you're actually watching it before the revelation goes down, where Nathan spills this whole entire information to Caleb, that she's just lying to you, she's manipulating you, that you actually believe Ava is actually liking Caleb, and in fact she's not. She's just trying every single way that she possibly can to get out of her holding cell and actually explore the world that she thinks she needs to do. And so it's a very interesting twist. And then there is a breakage where she actually gets out of her area that she's used to. She's actually walking in like the lower floor of Nathan's house, and Nathan actually punches Caleb in the face, and then Nathan goes down, and then he sees Ava, and then Ava starts running at him, and then Ava and another robot that you actually think is actually just a servant for Nathan turns out to be another AI that Nathan has created to cook for him and clean for him and all this other stuff and be his girlfriend. It's kind of bizarre. And then both Ava and this other AI that you turns out to actually be and not a real woman kills Nathan in the process. And Caleb is in the computer room where it's like on the lower floor. And the way it's set up that Caleb got a hold of Nathan's key card while he was sleeping and was able to basically reroute to where the plan was Caleb and Ava were supposed to leave together one final night. They were supposed to leave together. And the plan was is to lock Nathan inside his own house to where he cannot leave because he will not have his key card to get out of his own house. Well, Caleb was told, the main character, Ava told Caleb to stay where he's at, which is in the room where he learned all the information from Nathan that Ava was lying and just trying to manipulate to get out of her surroundings. This is where the things really got interesting for me because I really thought the way that it was going, that the main character Caleb, who was sent there to test Ava, was going to leave with Ava. Caleb and Ava were going to leave together. Then Ava finds a whole closet full that Caleb actually discovers of other AIs that Nathan created, and she basically puts on a new arm because it got beat off. It actually got destroyed by Nathan during the fight between Nathan and Ava. And Ava put on a new arm, and she basically turned herself into an actual looking woman. So she's not just a AI that is essentially very intelligent. She actually looks like a real woman, and it's very interesting and really eerie. But obviously, it's at this point, it's actually the actual actress herself that's actually playing herself without any CGI going on for her body. And so she locks Nathan, not excuse me, Nathan's dead. I get the two names confused because they're so close together. She locks Caleb, the main character who we all thought was awesome. He was a cool character. He was invited to do this. He won to do this experiment, and his whole plan was to help Ava out. Ava locks Caleb in the room and leaves him to die. And Ava rides back on the helicopter that Caleb actually rode on to get to the remote area. She actually leaves on the helicopter, gets back into society. We see her out in the public world, and then she just walks off, and then that's the end of the film. We don't know the ultimate fate to Caleb because he is locked in Nathan's house, but there's no possible way that we know that he could break out, and Nathan is dead. So at that point, Ava is now in the real world, and there's nothing else to be done. I mean, obviously they could make a sequel where the government or somebody finds out about Ava, but I mean, at that point, it's not a singular film that is focused on this particular character, Ava, that we're trying to see. Is it really artificial intelligence? Is this thing, do people believe Ava to be human and not a robot? And I think throughout the entire film, they proved that Ava is a very intelligent robot, a very intelligent AI, and can be passed off as a human, no problem. But I just think the way they ended the film was just a direction I didn't expect. I really did not expect them to basically allow Caleb to die that way. Because we assume he's dead, because he's locked inside Nathan's house and there's no way he can get out. Because Ava escaped, essentially. So I think that with how the film was developed and how it came across, the storytelling was fantastic, because you actually believe that Nathan is a horrible person. Now, he is kind of a douchebag, but you think that he's actually going to do something very horrible to Caleb, and it turns out that Ava was just trying everything she possibly can to basically get out, and she successfully did. So that kind of proves again that she was able to manipulate Caleb, the person that, that was supposed to be testing her, but she was actually trying to manipulate him into getting out. So she actually wins. She actually was able to beat a human who was actually pretty smart. Caleb was actually a pretty smart character in the film, and he gets basically bamboozled essentially, and he's outwitted by an AI. So I think it was a very interesting, well thought out film. Was greatly directed, great story, and I think that they should not make a sequel. That's the one thing I do want to argue before we go on to our next topic. I do not want to see an Ex Machina sequel. Obviously, they could do a lot of things with a sequel if they decided to go down that road with this film, but I think as it is, it needs to be that way because Ava is free. Unfortunately, Caleb is dead, and thankfully Nathan is dead because Nathan really just was a douchebag throughout the entire film. But Caleb, I think, for how he came across, he was a great character. I actually felt connected to him, and I really enjoyed him and Ava's chemistry on screen, and I really enjoy that. His character wasn't like Nathan's at all, and Caleb was actually a good character, a good person. He tries to be a good person. He actually felt connected to Ava, and Ava's the one who left him. So I feel like that I still enjoy the film for what it is. I just wish the ending was not as kind of sinister in the sense of that, the good guy in the film that was trying everything he could to help Ava out gets screwed over in the end. But other than that, I just do not want to see a sequel because honestly, this is a great indie film. It was made on a low budget. It's earning quite a bit of money at the box office. And honestly, guys, if you have not seen Ex Machina, which I don't know why you listen to this section of the podcast because now the whole entire film is ruined for you. But I highly recommend, if you've seen the film, go see it again. It's a very great film. And I can't wait for it to come out on DVD and Blu-ray and all that stuff so I can actually go buy it and actually watch it myself and get more in depth within the film and actually enjoy it as an individual rather than a group, so at the movie theater. But like I said, there wasn't a lot of people there, but still, I would rather enjoy it with not a group of people. I'd rather enjoy it again by myself. So let me take a sip of the drink and then we'll get into our second topic, guys. Okay. Second topic is, which Green Lantern should DC use in the DC Cinematic Universe? Now, honestly, the two main Green Lanterns I think they could possibly use for the DC Cinematic Universe, because I don't believe they're going to go too far off the trail and pick a really lesser known Green Lantern from the comics. I believe the only two Green Lanterns that are possible is Hal Jordan and John Stewart. Now, obviously, they have used the John Stewart Green Lantern in the Justice League animated show and the Justice League Unlimited, which is a continuation of that same story, essentially. So they could easily go in that direction of we're going to use John Stewart, because in the animated world, it worked very well. And the reason why they could go that direction is because they already tried Hal Jordan with Ryan Reynolds, and that film bombed heavily. Now, obviously, they could just say, well, the reboot's coming down the road, so we have plenty of time. But I think that with how they've introduced it, we have our 7, essentially. Well, I think we have our 6. We might have our 7 Justice League members. We have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg, Shazam, and we also have our Green Lantern. So that is 7. So we do have our 7 members of the Justice League right now, but down the road they could expand or switch up the roster, which I believe that's what they'll do with the roster of the Justice League. But I've done the Hal Jordan before, and obviously it's not the same Hal Jordan as we're going to see in the DC Cinematic Universe. It's not going to be Ryan Reynolds again. Or do they go with, let's try the Green Lantern we have not tried on live action yet, which is the John Stewart, because it's the second most popular, or you could say it's equally popular. But, I mean, for me, if you ask me, if I was running Warner Brothers DC and they asked me, okay, you know what, Chainsaw, you get to pick who's going to be the Green Lantern in the universe of the DC Cinematic Universe for the Justice League movie that coming out in 2017, you get to pick who it's going to be. I'm honestly going to pick John Stewart, and the reason why is not because Hal Jordan has already been tried in the Ryan Reynolds film Green Lantern and it failed. It's because I really enjoy the animated Justice League and Justice League Unlimited series, and John Stewart I felt like was a great character. Now, obviously, the character's not going to be copy and paste from Justice League and the animated show. I understand that, but I think that character would be really interesting to see on screen. Now, there's a show called Young Justice, which is I thought it was a pretty interesting show. I didn't think I would like it as much as I do. And in that show, closer to the end, they showed the Justice League members, where they're all in this room, and there's more than 7 of them, and they have both Hal Jordan and John Stewart Green Lanterns in the same room in the same Justice League. So just because, let's say hypothetically, Justice League Part 1 has the John Stewart Green Lantern, that doesn't mean Justice League Part 3, which is not announced because they've only announced Justice League 1 and 2, Justice League 1, 2017, Justice League 2, 2019. Obviously, these dates can change, but as of right now, that's what it is. But let's say Justice League Part 3 in 2021 or 2022, if they make some date changes around or whatever, that they could have a bigger roster than 7 Justice League members for some big event that's coming, some big villain that's going to be taking more than 7 members. They could introduce Hal Jordan's version of the Green Lantern and have both Hal Jordan and John Stewart in the DC Cinematic Universe in Justice League together. That'd be a cool angle to push, but I mean, I don't we obviously don't know what direction they're going to go. Now, the reports came out. Now, obviously, I could have made this as a topic, but it kind of ties in because it's been rumored that Chris Pine, who, of course, plays Captain Kirk in the rebooted Star Trek films, Chris Pine was rumored to play Hal Jordan in the DC Cinematic Universe as Green Lantern. He was rumored for quite some time. And honestly, that is a great casting choice. If they went that direction of Hal Jordan, I think that would have been a cool casting choice because not only does he play Captain Kirk in the Star Trek reboots, he'll be playing Hal Jordan, a rebooted Hal Jordan in the DC Cinematic Universe. But now he's been reported as being Wonder Woman's love interest in her solo film, and I believe I don't remember his name. I'm not going to look it up because I don't want to get into look like 30 seconds of quiet time because I'm looking it up. But he's rumored to play Wonder Woman's love interest in her solo film, so that kind of throws it out the door because he can't play her love interest and then turn around and be Hal Jordan. It would just make no sense because his character in the supposed Wonder Woman solo film as her love interest is not Hal Jordan. So there's that. And then for the longest time, Tyrese Gibson has been promoting on his Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff for a long time. Photo edits of him as Green Lantern have been promoting he wants to play Green Lantern, he wants to play John Stewart, and a lot of people do not like this decision if DC went down this road, because we've heard stories that Tyrese has met with Warner Brothers and DC, but it's not been confirmed if he actually has or not. I think he said at one point he has, but who knows. But I think that if they announced today that Tyrese is going to be playing John Stewart, Green Lantern, in the DC Cinematic Universe, he'll be appearing in Justice League Part 1, Part 2, and then the reboot Green Lantern film in 2020 or whenever it comes out, because, these dates can change for films. I would not be mad. I would just be skeptical and hoping that he breaks it out of the park, knocks it out of the park. That's the correct term. I really hope that if that's the decision they go with and they pick him, I'm skeptical, but I'm going to be very optimistic and hope that he knocks it out of the park. I hope he destroys the role. I hope it destroys the role in a good way, in the sense where he basically makes everyone go, awesome. I want to see more of him in Justice League Part 2 and the solo film. I want to see Tyrese being John Stewart. That's what I hope that happens, because that's the same thing that people are saying about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, so there's that. Now, obviously, if they pick John Stewart, maybe he's not even in the running. Maybe they have an idea of what they want to do, or maybe DC has no idea what they're going to do with that character, because there's different incarnations of that character besides Hal Jordan and John Stewart they could go with. But I think that with what DC has done, they have these really, really main characters, and that at some point down the road, they're, of course, going to introduce Hawk Girl, Hawk Man, something like that, or Hawk Guy, whichever. I forget if it's Hawk Man or Hawk Guy. Or Hawk Guy, not Hawk Eye from Marvel. Hawk Man or Martian Manhunter or anything like that. So we're going to have different characters coming in, but I think that with Green Lantern, I don't think they're going to pick a lesser-known Green Lantern. They're going to pick either John Stewart or Hal Jordan. And I think that, with my personal opinion, pick John Stewart, but that's just my personal preference because I really enjoyed the Justice League animated series, and I would love to see on the live action. And my thing is, though, you pick John Stewart now for Part 1 and Part 2 of Justice League in the solo film, and then in Part 3 of Justice League, which has not been announced yet, later on after 2020, then introduce both John Stewart and then introduce Hal Jordan in the group in the Justice League that expands from 7 members to like 10 members. Let's say all 7 members from the original Justice League that's going to be in the Justice League films are there, plus 3 more, Martian Manhunter, Hawk Girl, and then Hal Jordan. That'd be amazing. A 10-member team. That'd be really awesome to see that personally. But so there's that. So what do you guys think? Do you think they should pick Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm very interested to see what you guys think. Let's get to the third topic, but let me take a sip of the drink first, then we'll get to our third topic. Okay, so let me reiterate once again. Topic 3 is going to be Suicide Squad leaks. I'm not going to be getting into spoilers about what they are. Make that perfectly clear. If you do not want to get spoiled for Suicide Squad, you're not going to get spoiled because I'm not going to be talking anything specific that has been shown in the Suicide Squad leaks. I'm just going to be talking about in this section. Have we seen too much? I'm not going to get into details. I'm just going to talk about the generalization of what has come out. I'm not going to be talking about what has come out, but what has been shown, just not details. So, as we all know, for every single day at this point, for the last couple of weeks or the last week or two, there has been video and pictures coming out from the Suicide Squad set. Obviously, they're filming in the middle of Montreal, Canada, so there's going to be videos and pictures leaking all the time. The thing is, though, that DC is not pulling them off. DC is not going around and trying to stop these people from videoing anything that's happening when they're filming a scene. They're not going and taking down pictures. They're not trying to stop these people. I even saw someone periscoping, which if you don't know what that is, Periscope is a app that Twitter bought out, and Periscope is where you can live stream from your phone and people can see you and you can basically talk to people essentially. Someone was periscoping periscoping a scene they were going to be shooting on the Suicide Squad set out in the open, and there's a guy walking around before they actually start filming the shot they were trying to get. And this guy wasn't, and he had he had a headset on, and he wasn't stopping the people recording. All he was saying to the people recording and pictures and videoing and whatever else they're doing, do not have flash. If you're taking pictures, do not have flash on. And I'm like, really? Really? Are you guys on the set? You don't care that people are leaking out video footage of what you're doing in your film? It just feels very weird to me because I know that when Avengers Age of Ultron was getting filmed, that literally there was only a very few amount of pictures that were leaking out because Marvel was very smart about making sure that no one leaked out information. Now, obviously it gets harder and harder to basically withhold particular things in films unless you stay away from movie sites and all that kind of stuff that promotes leaks or Facebook groups because it's getting insane. But as far as I know, Avengers Age of Ultron did not have a lot of leaked photos. But Suicide Squad is having tons of stuff coming out daily. And the question is, are we seeing too much? And honestly, I think if you are staying away from anything potential of spoiling what they're filming, spoiling what they're doing on set, if you're staying away from that, you're obviously not going to get spoiled. But to the people like me that have seen it online and it's so hard not to see it, have we seen too much? And my answer is not really. I don't think we have, because honestly, I think the reason why particular things like videos and pictures that have come out from the set of Suicide Squad is getting out there because DC wants to promote the crap out of this film. DC understands this is their Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel. The difference is that Marvel has had a huge slate of films before Guardians of the Galaxy, so that kept their movie pushed up a little bit further in expectations and anticipation because the Marvel Cinematic Universe was just getting film after film after film, just hit. And then when they announced this, Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like an unknown property, but Marvel succeeded and it earned over $700 million. So to DC, this is their Guardians of the Galaxy. They want as much hype and anticipation as possible, but I think that with them allowing leaks to get out is not a good thing at all. I don't think that's the right way to go. If you want to promote your film Suicide Squad, do what David Ayer was doing. David Ayer, of course, is directing Suicide Squad. He released a photo, an official photo, of the Suicide Squad cast standing together. Obviously, Joker is not in the picture, but that's the right direction. I think David Ayer or people that are working on the set, basically David Ayer on Facebook, or people that are associated with the film, like actors and actresses that are on the set and filming, release some behind the scene photos. Don't show off too much. Just have like these professional shot photos, or these photos that are being released officially by the DC group and David Ayer, the director, and the actors and actresses that are being told, yes, you can put that out there on social media. And that's how you build the hype, if you really want that to happen. Because the way they're doing it is they're allowing these people that are amateurs, these fans, just take video after video after video after video, take pictures left and right, just keep putting this stuff out. Literally, we get like tens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50 pictures a day usually, plus like 10, 12, 15 videos of them filming on the set. If you really want the promotion, you really want the people to get hyped for this film that not a lot of people know about and they're really curious about it, you need to have some professionalism and try to contain the leaks and try to put out stuff that it's actually released by you and not by these, like, these 15, 16-year-old kids that are filming you, or shooting a scene with a car or something. You need to do some professionalism and try to do it yourselves, and that's how you promote the film legitly. I mean, look what Zack Snyder did. Zack Snyder didn't wait around while he was filming Batman v Superman. They contained that really well. But you look at the random picture of him released of Batman in front of his car, or look at the random photo that he put out of Jason Momoa as Aquaman. It's like randomly out of nowhere, just putting out these cool photos. Now, obviously, David Ayer could contain it and then do this kind of stuff afterwards. He releases a professional photos and promotional photos for the film after it's done filming. But if this is happening and these leaks continue to happen, do some behind the scenes stuff. And so this is the official stuff instead of looking at crappy leaks. Try to contain it and then do some professionalism behind the scenes and get people excited for the film and make it to where you're showing off what you want to show off right now, and don't allow these people that are recording it and taking pictures to release and reveal stuff ahead of time before you're ready to reveal it or announce it. I think that's the way they should go with it, but that's my own personal opinion. So what do you guys think of this whole situation? What do you think of the Suicide Squad leaks? If you have seen it or if you have not, what are your thoughts about it all coming out? Obviously, I do not want anybody spoiling what's been released and leaked by people. So if you do post a comment talking about any particular information, like specific things that have leaked out about a Suicide Squad, I will delete your comment because I do not want to spoil anything that's happened right now on the set unless the studio has officially released information about the film officially by them, not leaks, but officially. That's different, but they haven't at this point. But if you talk about anything specific in the comment section about this, in this video they showed this, your comment's getting deleted because I do not want to spoil for other people that have not seen the leaks, so it's not fair for them. So anyways, guys, what do you think about these three topics? Ex Machina spoiler talk. If you've seen the film, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Ex Machina. What do you think about which Green Lantern they should use for the DC Cinematic Universe? Should they use Hal Jordan or John Stewart? Let me know about that. And then what are your thoughts about, is basically these leaks ruining Suicide Squad? No specifics, just what are your thoughts about, have we seen too much? Just don't get in specifics. Let me know about all that stuff in the comment section below. Thank you guys for checking out my podcast. See you guys.